Well, I want to start with, 3 consecutive great seasons for women's basketball here with 17 wins, 19 wins, and 20 wins in those 3 seasons. I'm so proud of the direction our program's heading in. Although, what we do in women's basketball is not necessarily all about counting the wins and losses in a season. We're about developing our young women, making them champions for life, and that takes a lot of hands and a lot of people involved and a lot of activities that we get them involved in. Some of the things we do within our program that's outside of the court and things that don't get taught in a classroom or with a basketball in their hand is we started a 6-week life skills program for our players in the preseason, where we teach them things like social media do's and don'ts, dining etiquette, self-defense classes, how to live in a multicultural society. Maybe for our freshmen, that's the first time they've ever done that when they come to college. Teach them resume writing. So just some skills and things that we feel as women's basketball players and of course women that are going to be leaders in our community need to learn while they're here on a college campus. Our players also volunteer once a month during the school year. We volunteer with organizations like the Ronald McDonald House, the Miracle League, the Red Cross, and just local elementary schools. Our team has really excelled in the classroom. We've upped our team GPA to be above a 3.0 cumulative altogether, and that's a big rise, especially in the sport of women's basketball. We have two players who earned academic achievement awards last year, Alex Coyne and Katie Bobus. And, of course, Katie Bobus was also named All-Academic GSC. So we're proud of their accomplishments of being in the classroom, excelling in the classroom, and putting their hard work to the test there, too. Our players are active on campus in organizations on campus. They're in the student advisory committee. They're leaders in the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. You can see them around campus supporting other programs. So they're involved. They're not just in the gym shooting hoops all day. They are well-rounded young women. And I think just obviously some other notes that we've had some great things happen from the end of the season last year to the beginning of this season. We have had a phenomenal off-season. And I say that because we've had some awards, but we also got to take a really great trip with our team to the Dominican Republic. But I just want to list some of those awards that kind of came out of the successes of our program in the last few years. Of course, we had Alex Coyne and Katie Bobus, who were named All-Conference last year at the end of the season. Coach Jesse Ivey was named Division II Assistant Coach of the Year and now has moved on to be an assistant coach at Bowling Green State University. I was chosen to be at a summit where I got to share the stage with best-selling author John Gordon. And I'm sure most of you have read some of his buses, the most famous being the Energy Bus. But I was amazed that I was asked to come speak about what are you doing with your women's basketball team that other organizations can use nationwide. And I was honored to be there with John and on stage with him. Of course, we had Katie Bobus, who got to throw out the first pitch of a Blue Wahoos game. And then I had the honor of flying with the Blue Angels. And if you hadn't seen those videos yet, go on YouTube. They're pretty exciting. So we've had some great things that have happened. But you know what? Our players and of course me, I don't get selected to do these things because it's just me, or our players don't get selected things because it's just them. That it takes a village to raise a basketball team, and we say that all the time. And so those kind of honors and accolades and things that we get to be a part of have to do with the people that surround us. But I mentioned the Dominican Republic trip. I mean, this was a huge endeavor. It was the first time our team had ever traveled internationally. This is a great opportunity for our team to get together and practice for 10 days together when there was no school. There's nothing to do but really get ready for a basketball trip. We played 4 international games while we were there against their national team and some of their club teams. But it was a great experience. But the experience wasn't all about basketball. The greatest experience was seeing the growth of our team, seeing them come together, seeing them really work themselves through 3-a-day tough practices going into the trip, seeing them get on a boat in the middle of the Caribbean Sea with a handful of kids who are not swimmers, put on a life jacket and just jump in the water to go snorkeling. I mean, they really stepped outside the box. They challenged themselves to do new things and fun things, but they really got to see a part of the world that they wouldn't normally get to see and experience a life and a culture that they probably will never experience again. And I just thought it was a great trip for our team. But again, we couldn't do it without the people who support us and who are around our team. We're grateful for that support from our community, obviously, from our university, from our athletic department, from our families, from our friends of the program. We have got some great friends of the program. And as I'm saying that, I want to mention them because some of them are in the room. Don Corencio is over there in the corner. And although Don, he kind of sits in the background, he is a huge supporter of women's basketball. You can see him at every home game. He's cheering the players on. He's sending us great, email encouragement when we're on the road. I can't tell you how grateful we are for Don and his following our program and just being such a great friend. We have some families of our players that do an awesome job supporting our team. The Coynes, the Myers family, the Bobuses, the O'Neills, the Cole Brewer family, and then the Bistros. These families show a huge example of what it means to be a college parent, to have a student on a collegiate team. They donate money to our programs. They bring dinners over for our team. They're sending over little goodie bags for road trips. They're sending little text messages with quotes and comments on how to encourage our players. And we just, we're so grateful for the families that we have surrounding our team. And then, of course, I can't be remiss because we have T. Bubba Bechtel in the room. And Bubba has become a huge fan of women's basketball. Was never a fan of basketball. Was never a fan of women's basketball when he came, when I met him at first, and we invited him to a few games. He really got involved with our players. And of course, I wasn't expected to walk in today, but Bubba handed me a check to fully endow his scholarship for our women's basketball program, which was awesome because he was able to do that from a comedy show that he created for our program. So not only did he use his talents, but his connections to really help our program and bring something that hopefully year after year we're going to bring back. If you missed that comedy show in September, you missed a treat. It was amazing. So we're appreciative of him as well. But all right, let's talk about this season. We talk about all those things that have happened this summer and all the things that are going on. What to expect? I think more of the same. You expect more of the same of women's basketball. Right now, I would describe us as an average team. It's early in the season. It's November 1st. We are an average team at best right now. But we got a lot of work to do, and that's a good thing. The sky's the limit for this team. The two things I think our team really has is a fighting spirit. They come into practice every day. They go hard. Even times in practice where we need to slow it down and teach and really talk. Our players aren't used to going at that speed. They go 100 miles a minute all day, every practice, and that's just a commitment to their fighting spirit. But also they're developing that championship mentality of really stepping up when times are tough, when times are hard, when they have a challenge in front of them, attacking it face on and going after it. A couple other things, from this season is we obviously added a new coach to our staff, LaQuanda Barksdale-Quick. She is a Carolina grad, just as I am. She played at North Carolina, had a great experience there. Her junior and senior season, she led the ACC in scoring. Went on to play in the WNBA, has coached many years and recently come to us from Winston-Salem State University. But her passion is defense. And so I've given her the charge of being our defensive coordinator and just working the devil out of our players on the defensive end of the court. So they've learned to embrace these hard drills that Coach Quick has brought to practice. They've embraced that tenacity that's going to take to stop some of the very high-scoring teams in our league. So that will be a new challenge for us. We've also added some male practice players to our team, which is new for us this season. So we've added some guys that join us in practice. They have to meet all the NCAA requirements that our women do as far as academic progress, eligibility, all that good stuff. But they come into practice about 3 or 4 nights a week and challenge our women. And it has been a great environment when those guys are in practice. Our ladies, the intensity goes up. Their productivity has gone up. It's been a great addition, and we're grateful for those guys that come out and battle it out. It's hard to be a male practice player in women's sports because sometimes the girls are better than you. And it's hard for a guy's ego to come into practice and get scored on and get trash talked to, but it happens, and we're glad those guys come in and practice with us. Things to look forward to for us for this season are some just achievement goals. With 20 wins this season, the group of seniors that are on our team that have been here for 4 years, it'll be the best 4-year span in school history. That's a big obstacle in front of us, and we'd love to reach it. Not that we're really focused on it, but man, that would be awesome to reach that goal with 20 wins this season. Katie Bobus, one of our seniors, obviously is on track to finish her career in the 1,000-point club and be the overall career rebounding leader upon graduation. She's super close to that. And so, obviously we're fortunate to have her, but really excited to see her break that record with a junior, Tony Brewer, right on her doorstep, filling in behind. So I think Tony, once Katie, if she breaks it this season, Tony will be on her heels and breaking into her senior season. Alex Coyne, our starting point guard right now, she's on record or on track to be the overall career assist leader. If she does that, she would be the leader in single season assist record. So if she can beat that and within a 2-year span coming in as a transfer, that's a huge feat. And then of course we've got Courtney here, who's on track to be our career shot blocking record holder by the time she graduates in 2 years. So we've got some great players that are coming and returning to our program. We're expecting great things from. We did add some newcomers. Imani Mulmer from New Orleans, Louisiana. She's really pushing for a starting position right now as a freshman. She's intense. She does the dirty work. She's on the floor all the time, getting knocked to the floor and getting to the free throw line and getting rebounds. She's just tenacious in that way. And so with that attitude, she's really pushing for a starting position. Faith Franklin is a local favorite from right here in Pensacola. She's maturing every day at that point guard spot. She's got big shoes to fill with Alex Coyne in front of her, but she's taking this year and learning from Alex and getting better. Megan O'Neill from South Walton High School, just down the road. She's a sharpshooter, newbie on our team, and we're expecting her to be able to kind of get us in, and if we need some momentums from that three-point line, you definitely will see her getting on the court. And then we have Shaniqua McGee and Shami Goodwin, who are transfers after graduating from junior college last year, and they are some phenomenal talents. They just got to take a little time to kind of get better and learn our system, but they're going to be great for our program. We open up the season on November 11th against Eckerd College, a team within our region, and then the second game will be the next day, November 12th, against Albany State University. Both will be in Valdosta. And then our home opener is November 22nd against Spring Hill College. So I'll open it up for questions.
With all the success that you've had, do you feel that you're actually on a progressive track where it's improving each year, or were there any hiccups along the way that said, we should be better at that?
I think obviously in our conference, women's basketball, it is a pinnacle in Division II. I mean, we keep saying that we are the ACC, SEC of women's basketball in Division II. The Gulf South Conference is getting stronger. The teams we keep adding are powerhouses in women's basketball, so it's not getting any easier in our conference. I think we are taking those stepping stones. We took obviously a huge leap from year one to year two, while I was here. I mean, going from worst to first and winning a conference championship, that was a huge leap that no one expected. And so now we're taking those kind of, slower baby steps of maintaining that, staying in a position in our conference where we're still building a powerhouse in the region. We're still, buying for an NCAA tournament bid. We're working hard to maintain that. And to maintain it comes through recruiting. It comes through great coaching. It comes from the players coming together. It comes from staying injury-free. It's, all these things come together within a course of the season, and it's a long season in basketball. We're proud of the progress that we're making.
Courtney, I noticed you kind of smiled when Stephanie talked about Coach Quick's bringing an emphasis on smiling again. Defense. Is it a better defensive team? Is it tougher, or is it significantly different?
It's both. Compared to last year, we focus on defense, but not nearly as much as we have this year. And we just, Coach Q has brought some drills that I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope we never have to do this another day in practice. But I know it's going to make us better in the long run if we keep working at it. She tells us if we get it right, we don't have to do any more. So, that pushes us to keep doing better and working so hard. And you can't win games without good defense. So, I like what we're doing and I like where it's going. So I think it's going to make us better.
And Courtney, this last year evolved, how did you all feel like you handled the expectations? Because I think going into last year, Stephanie, if I'm right, you had everybody had much higher expectations. You were coming off that previous season. UWF started getting named. What was that like as you were as a player, and now you're maybe getting everybody's best shot a little bit more as opposed to surprising?
I mean, last year we definitely had, like we always said, we have a target on our backs. And I mean, the conference is so hard every year, but like being one of the top teams in the conference, it pushed us harder. I mean, made you a little more nervous sometimes and a little weary, but I mean, I think it really helped us to like have that mentality and like feel that way.
Stephanie, how did you feel as the program had the name that you maybe handled that? Because now going into this year, same kind of thing.
Yeah, it kind of changes that emphasis from, counting those wins up to staying in the process. I think our team at times last year got where they were over anxious of trying to beat someone. Okay, if we can beat this team, we'll be here. If we can beat that team, we'll be there. And really focusing on the outcome versus the process. So this year we're staying focused on the process. You hear us, talk about Coach Q. Okay, if we can get this right, we can move on in practice. You show that you're competent in this, then we move on with this. And that's been our focus, this year is staying in the process. And I'm the world's worst. I count wins and losses. The losses, I carry them around. My husband gets on to me all the time about I got to let it go and just move on. But so, as a team and as a program, we're really emphasizing with our players, stay in the process. You take care of the little things. The big things take care of themselves. If you don't take care of the little things, they snowball into bigger concerns. And so I think our players are learning that lesson, and I think that's going to make us a stronger, tougher, more determined team.
Is that the biggest thing you learned from last year's experience, or is there more that you kind of carry out of the good and the bad of last year, or the disappointing of last year?
Yeah, it's, every season is different. Every season you've got your ups and downs, whether it's injury, whether it's, players ineligible, whether it's, you have a tough loss at home or you have some great wins on the road. Every team is different. And I think that's the joy and the sorrow of coaching at the collegiate level is that, every team is different. They're not the same. You have different players. The players are developing. Some graduate, some leave, some stay. Some are getting better, some are staying the same. And the challenge of being a coach is how do you put that together and how do you put your best players and your best groups on the floor to ultimately win. And so that's a daily challenge too. From day to day, we go into practice with a depth chart of here's who needs to work together today. Here's the players that need to get these reps. Here's who we're really looking to see step up and do better. And from a player's perspective, that's challenging to understand that every time you step on the court, the coach is evaluating your performance. And that evaluation either shows up in playing time or maybe more time on the bench. That's a stressful situation to go into every day when you're really playing for your job on the court. And so, that's just kind of where we are. But it's a good place. Like I said, it makes these young ladies tougher. It makes them accountable for their actions. It makes them know that they've earned it. When they get it, they've earned it. They don't get it handed to them. And that's a great place to be in.
I think they're saying there with 4 returning starters, do the ladies on your team feel pretty much that it's a wide open starting role for the next season? You start from scratch. There's no jobs that are secure when they're coming in. I know you have got a lot of girls out there that are going for a lot of records and putting up big
Yes.
numbers, but do they feel shown in practice every day that if they don't perform that their job could be in jeopardy?
Certainly, we started the season preparing for the Dominican, and we knew going to the Dominican that everybody was going to get fairly equal playing time. We're going to give everybody an opportunity to show us what they got early. And then we come back, Now it's a different game, and we keep reminding them as coaches that it is a different game now. You're preparing, for the season, and what you show us every day is what you're giving us. But yeah, one of the reasons we brought our male practice players in is to challenge those players that are kind of at that top of our roster. That we feel at this point we don't have a player that can replace her yet, and so those guys in practice are hopefully challenging them in a way that their teammate can't, and ultimately going to make them better. So they don't get to come into practice and take it easy. They have to come in and compete just like everybody else.
When you all were in the Dominican Republic, what impact did that have on the team as people, seeing the country, meeting people who didn't know who you were, playing basketball against a professional team, really? And then, how does that shape the season now, and having that experience?
Well, coming in for the week before we went there, most of us didn't know each other. There was like half the team that just started, just getting to know each other. And once we got to Dominican, it was like we've been working together for a whole season. We got so close so quick, and I think that's really going to help us this season because we have that chemistry on and off the court. So I think it's just going to help us in the long run. We learned so much about each other. Everyone stepped out of their comfort zone at least once on the trip, which helps anyone in any aspect of their life. So I think it'll help us a lot on the court this season.
Was it eye-opening maybe in some ways to see a different country and experience, interact with children that maybe didn't know who you were?
Completely. I've been on like 5 mission trips myself, and this trip was the most eye-opening, most life-changing one by far. I saw stuff that I've only seen on like commercials. I didn't know if it was actually like that's how people lived. And it really took a step back from everything and just was grateful for not only like my life where I live, but the opportunity that I have to play basketball here and with all the group of girls that I have. So
Yeah, we finished games in Dominican, and after we finished our 4th game, our kids are taking off their sneakers and handing them to a player off the other team because they didn't have shoes. They were playing in shoes that were 3 sizes too small. We had people in the stands tapping our players and saying, "Hey, can I have your socks?" And our players are thinking, "Well, you want my sweaty socks? Yeah, okay, if you want them, But yeah, our kids packed up their T-shirts on the way back. Our luggage was a lot lighter because they left T-shirts and shorts and all the things that they had taken they figured, oh, these things are mine. They just gave them away. And because they saw a need, a group of people that needed, they didn't have it, they didn't have shoes. They didn't have a good pair of sneakers to play in. And they understood, well, I can get back to America and I can replace these in a second, where these players we're playing against they don't have that luxury. So it was great. It was a great eye-opening experience for them. And of course, a great experience for us as coaches. It was exhausting, but it was a fun and exciting time.